6 p.m. in Boadibo, that's in the Douala 4 municipality of the Vori division of the Littoral region of Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the primetime newscast on Equinoxe television with me. For me, I'm Sean Sander. This part, the condemnation of outright violation of civil society and political rights of Cameroonians. Hundreds of people arrested during the post-electoral protests in different parts of Cameroon are still in detention. Territorial Administration Minister in the Adama region of Cameroon today said that 136 young people arrested during the post-electoral protests in the town of Garawa alone have been freed, with 43 others being prosecuted before the military tribunal. And civil society actors across Cameroon on their part say that President Paul Biya seem to be in a state of difficulties with resolving internal conflicts across the nation Cameroon. Their reactions follows the presidential decision in a call for Anglophone civil society leaders, traditional and political authorities to engage on community dialogue in order to put an end to the 9-year-long conflict in the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions. This and more will be yours in this edition of the news. And now, thanks for making the right choice to be informed by the best of television network. You are on to Equinoxe Television. We told you we live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital city, Equinoxe Central News Desk. Now, we begin with one of our top stories. In recent inaugural speech in Yaoundé, Cameroon, President Paul Biya called on traditional rulers and political authorities of the northwest and southwest English-speaking regions to ensure what they say, what he qualified as a community dialogue with aggrieved young persons who have taken up arms in some parts of the country, especially within the context of the Anglophone crisis. Civil society actors reacting say that President Paul Biya seemed to be in a tight corner with resolving internal conflicts across Cameroon. This also goes to prove the failure of the much branded major national dialogue organized several years ago by the CPT and party regime officials in Yaoundé. Our staff lady Annabella has more in the following report.
In the northwest and the southwest regions, the Anglophone crisis has been pulling on for over 8 years now. The war has caused enormous bloodshed, plus untold suffering on the Anglophones who have fled for their lives to seek refuge, abandoning everything behind them. The Boko Haram attacks in the northern regions and the most recent post-election conflicts have hugely destabilized the entire nation. In his swearing-in discourse, President Paul Biya sounded powerless in the face of the above predicaments.
J'invite à cet égard les chefs traditionnels, les élites et les forces vives des régions affectées à s'engager plus avant.
When, after 43 years, the head of state asks local authorities to find solutions, it is either the head of state is tired, which is a reality, or he is detached from what we all know, or definitely he is simply playing the last days Pontius Pilate. The head of state might technically be engaging the population by disengaging himself from accountability. Song Derek, a civil society actor, adds that the head of state seemingly disengaged himself as a solution provider, thereby he abandons Cameroonians to fate as concerns conflict resolution. With the way things are going, it shows that the regime is interested in its own stability than the national stability and the welfare of its citizens. They are more interested that power should remain in their hands. As long as power stays in their hands, they don't care what happens. Analysts come to a conclusion, therefore, that the major national dialogue was then a fiasco if President Paul Biya now has to recourse to inter-community dialogue to resolve national crisis plaguing a greater part of the country. Remember, this meeting was held to answer the Anglophone question, but Till date, the Anglophone question has not been answered. Violence in the northwest and southwest southern Cameroons is still continuing.
And still in politics, a prominent French politician, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, makes disturbing revelations on what he says is the worst to possibly happen for the nation Cameroon regarding the current political atmosphere. He accuses Macron's government in France of failing the situation in Cameroon with the re-election of 92-year-old President Paul Biya. He warns of it that if nothing concrete is being done by the French authorities, chaos will be inevitable and will affect both Cameroon and France directly. Innocent has listened keenly to the declaration of the French politician and compiled the following report.
Alors, voilà. Et puis le Cameroun, alors là, c'est la catastrophe totale.
The French political figure Jean-Luc Mélenchon, in a gathering of different personalities, paints red and black the political updates in Cameroon as President Paul Biya, at the age of 93, picks up an 8th mandate, pregnant with diverse challenges.
Ça ne le dérange pas d'avoir 92 ans pour affronter les rudes tâches qui se présentent devant lui.
According to Jean-Luc, knowing fully well, as you find in his rhetorics, mentioning the age of President Paul Biya, and even the percentage that you see puts it in a mocking manner that President Paul Biya is said to have attained the percentage winning the presidential election. The revelation is clean and clear that Jean-Luc has a mastery of the French politics.
Macron cannot dictate our policies. French politician is telling us that new colonialism is still in Cameroon, and we think that it is time for us to fight against this new colonialism and fight against France influencing our governance.
The French government, according to him, is not helping matters.
On peut là aussi dire que la France a une responsabilité, puisque le président Macron, il arrive au Cameroun, où là aussi se met à faire toutes sortes d'amitié au fils de M. Biya. Mais pour finir, c'est M. Biya qui est candidat et qui a été réélu.
Jean-Luc is simply questioning Emmanuel Macron because, you know, when the Sahel countries seceded from French grip, most of the politicians in France equally blamed Emmanuel Macron for not playing the politics in a diplomatic manner and for equally supporting dictators in French-speaking African countries.
The aging governance must stop where they feel that only aging people can be in governance.
He makes a revelation that a lot is due to happen, not in the long run, but soonest.
Vous pouvez dire, ah ben c'est loin. Non, c'est pas loin, c'est tout près. Deuxièmement, tout ça va mal tourner.
Things he stresses will turn extremely bad and will affect millions of men and women who are directly linked to France.
Rectement.
Knowing fully well that Emmanuel Macron and his government are playing the backstage support for President Paul Biya, has already understood that it will not last longer. And so the message you see Jean-Luc passing to the population and also to the French community is that it is not late for Emmanuel Macron to get things in order and talk to his colleague, probably to succeed or allow or leave the power before things turned bad the other way around. And when he's talking like this, because he knows that when the things turn around, it means that he is not even sure if the next person who comes in will be able to support French interest. And this is from what they saw when the Sahel countries had to cut their links from France. And so the signal you see Jean-Luc putting across is that if care is not taken, as things would likely not end well for the regime, it will also mean that it will also not end well with France losing another French colony, so to say.
We are thinking of a pragmatic Cameroon now. How can we shape this country without colonial influence?
Both political actors think the alert warrants both the Cameroonian and French governments to fasten their belts and act wisely soonest before the storm lands.
And on to something else. Cameroon's Ministry of Secondary Education has raised concerns over disruptions of classes in certain regions following the post-electoral tension that rocked the nation Cameroon. In a press release signed on November the 7th, 2025, Professor Nalova Lyonga says the Littoral region is among the most affected regions of the country, with 2 divisions experiencing significant delays in their academic activities. To address this, an online portal has been reintroduced by school officials. Our reporter Esie Lucy Liengo spoke with the Littoral Regional Delegate of Secondary Education and some school officials of the region and compiled the following report.
Beyond economic and social activities, the post-electoral tensions also had a devastating effect on education across the country. This, according to the Ministry of Secondary Education. To catch up on lessons missed during the lockdowns, the Ministry of Secondary Education is implementing a special program organized by the Distance Learning Center starting from the 10th of November, as reviewed in a recent press release.
The areas which have been marked by those perturbations are effectively in Mongo, but essentially in Vuri Division. And in Vuri Division, even inside Vuri Division, we have taken some measures for those of schools who had a lot of problems.
Professor Nalova Liunga in the communique explains that the catch-up learning program focuses on core subjects for both the technical and general education. The program is accessible on the ministry's official website for all secondary education students.
The parents had the link. We sent it since yesterday, so that principals, the chief, the head of schools should share that link to send it to the parents when they are back.
At Government Bilingual High School Nilong Brazzaville, the online program is ongoing during students' free period.
We could organize when students, for example, are free. We then open the link and then they have access to those lessons in the computer rooms as a whole class, not selected students.
Parents can also monitor their children's progress through school forums created for follow-up at home.
We have class forums that we created for the different classes. So we'll have to send the link there for the students to use that to revise at home. It doesn't mean that classes have to stop for that to go on.
Meanwhile, at Insect, Bonaberi in the Douala 4 subdivision, the school had already embraced the measure to facilitate learning for students who miss classes due to the tensions.
We have designed a program where the students can also catch up by extending the teaching period. Normally, we are supposed to close around 3:30. You can extend it, especially for examination classes, right up to 5:30. Make up, then of course on Saturdays too.
Regional delegates, principals and teachers have been instructed to collaborate with the Distance Learning Center to ensure the effective implementation of this program so that no learner is left behind.
And in the aftermath of Cameroon's post-electoral unrest, over 121 people arrested and detained were brought before the tribunal in Yaoundé on Friday, November the 7th, 2025. While some appeared before the military tribunal, others were presented to judicial officials at the court of first instance. Reacting to the issue, defense lawyers condemned the proceedings and qualified it as illegal and politically motivated, pointing to arbitrary arrests, extended detentions, and secret transfers in violations to national and international laws. The defense lawyers were speaking in a communique read and compiled by reporter Esie Luciliengo.
In a recent outing from a group of lawyers led by Barrister Hippolyte Meli, 121 individuals have been brought before courts in Yaoundé in the Central Region in connection with the post-election arrest. According to the statement, 52 people appeared before the Yaoundé Military Court Prosecutor's Office on Friday, November 7, 2025, while 69 others, including 9 minors, were presented before the Yaoundé Court of First Instance Administrative Center. Those who appeared before the military court include Ludovic Daga of the CRM political party, Roland Aswa Etoga of Korek, Parfait Vom, and several others. However, political figures such as Anise Kane, president of Manidem, Drekam Chamini, and Professor Bao Yuno were not among them. The defense lawyers are denouncing what they term arbitrary arrests and prolonged detentions lacking legal justifications. They allege that some detainees have been illegally transferred to secret detention sites, notably in Tui, leaving families in anguish. The legal minds also questioned the proceedings before both the military and civilian courts for similar offences, describing the situation as incompatible with fair trial principles. The group condemns the existence of a hidden hand attempting to manipulate the judicial process and urge authorities to uphold citizens' fundamental rights. While the defense team promises transparency and public updates on the ongoing proceedings, the detainees' families are in pain, waiting to know their relatives' fate.
And amid the recent hardship and uncertainties experienced by many Cameroonians in different parts of the country, the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, the PCC, has renewed its call for service and stewardship toward a significant milestone, the 68th anniversary of the Presbyterian Church existence. At the PCC Moliko in Boya in the southwest region, congregants reflected on the true meaning of stewardship, drawing inspiration from the teachings that highlighted selfless service even in difficult times. Rexafon has more from Boya.
Amidst the toil and turmoil some Cameroonians have been through in the past weeks, the message of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon is that of stewardship.
We have been assigned, no matter where you work, you're a servant, you're serving people. And therefore, to become a steward, you go closer to the people, go at the grassroots, work with them, humble yourself. And God has embedded us with so many gifts. So we use this gift to educate the community. We use this gift for kingdom building.
Here at the Presbyterian Church Moliko, members of the congregation have been edified on who a steward is.
We are made to understand that a steward is somebody who takes care of another person's property. So my take home is as a reminder that whatever gift I have, I don't own the gift. I should use the gift to serve the one who called me God.
The celebration of the 68th year of the existence of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon has been described as an important event.
I had to leave Yaoundé for Boya to celebrate this day. This is not an ordinary day in the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. It's a mission feast day. When we were young, that is how we call this day. Today is called the Presbyterian Church Day.
Reasons why many are happy to have participated in it.
68 years is maturity. And again, when you get the message that indicates that we need to come together. We need to be one another's keeper. That's stewardship, that's how it is. You have a talent, I have a talent. You better use our talent to praise God.
The congregants at PCC Moliko, amongst other things, have prayed for God to grant wisdom to the leadership of the church and also for peace in Cameroon.
And I will told you in our top stories that despite condemnations of outright violations of civil and political rights of Cameroonians, hundreds of persons arrested during the post-election protests in different parts of Cameroon are still being detained and in disturbing detention conditions in several parts of Cameroon. Territorial Administration's Minister Paula Tanganji says 136 young persons arrested in the town of Garwa in the north region of Cameroon have been freed, while some 45 others are being prosecuted before the military court. He was speaking during a security coordination meeting today in Garwa, chief town of the north region, hours after presidential hopeful Issa Chiroma Bakari asked for the release of those who were arrested within the context of the post-electoral unrest. We have more with staffman Babila Jonathan.
Dear compatriot,
Issa Chiroma Bakari began his video message by lamenting on what he qualifies as a robbery against the Cameroonian people by their own state, making reference to what he calls his stolen victory in the October 12, 2025 presidential election.
I give you, in my capacity, I give you 48 hours to liberate all of those who, out of law, unlawfully, you have arrested and jailed.
Issa Chiroma Bakari adds that failure to release the prisoners will leave the people with no option but to resort to self-defense. Speaking to Radio France International, the minister in charge of special duties at the Presidency of the Republic and a member of the Central Committee of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM, Professor Aboye Manasseh, indicated that they're waiting to see what forces Issa Chiroma Bakari will mobilize.
We are not going to waste time commenting on what Issa Chiroma Bakari said. That will be perpetuating his baseless stance of protest. It's over. We are already focused on fulfilling the mandate.
He thinks it is time to move forward.
And away from politics, we talk the sanitation states of Cameroon's economic capital city, Douala. Douala, whose streets are said to be littered with garbage, also in market with several neighborhoods like Daido in the Douala 1 municipality, Bepanda in the Douala 5 municipality, all suffering from a disturbing waste disposal crisis. Residents are frustrated and are worried about their health with risks associated with undisposed waste. The situation has gotten so bad that some, like Durando Bois, have been destroyed, with or some are using unorthodox means and unconventional rather means to get the waste either displaced or destroyed in order to keep themselves safe. We have disturbing images of just how dirty several parts of Douala are with our reporter Sedi Chakuchu.
From the Douala 1 to the Douala 5 subdivisions, streets and markets of the economic capital have been littered with garbage for several years now. At Daido, for the past few months, the neighborhood has been plunged by others, some more concentrated than others, depending on the volume of garbages piled up in various areas of the neighborhood. It's been over 10 days since the company in charge of the collection of this garbage came here. People sell food right next door. Streets, properties and public spaces have been transformed into garbage dumps, awaiting the arrival of the sanitation workers. The situation, which worries the population. I told you last time that it was a stage set for the Republic. Maybe it was funny that day, but look where we are now. At the Douala 5 subdivision, precisely at Entre Bepanda, Durando Bois, a carpenter, had to destroy his workshop. This due to the huge amount of garbage piled in front of his shop. What you see behind me is my workshop. It used to be a large workshop where I worked and managed to make a living, but now it's just garbage. Everything is destroyed. I am forced to move to another neighborhood. Sometimes the garbage collectors come and pretend to be here, then they leave. I'm fed up. It's too much. An accusation finger is being pointed at the company responsible for the garbage collection in Cameroon's cities, which, according to Cameroonians, is no longer able to control the situation. For over a year, garbage bins have disappeared from this area. Garbage is everywhere. We can't even breathe. Where is the company in charge of the collection of these dirt? We are suffocating at this area. On their side, the company in charge of the collection of these dirt say that the post-electoral tensions in the country had a serious impact on the teams who were to collect these garbages. However, they reassure that measures have been taken to do the collection. The post-electoral crisis had a considerable impact on the delivery of services. It is in this context that we experienced numerous disruptions, including a temporary halt to activities for almost a week. It was essential not to jeopardize the lives of our sanitation workers and all of our collection and cleaning equipment. Therefore, we will organize a collection drive in the coming days to elevate the burden on the population. The city of Douala produces an average of 2,700 tons of waste per day. That is 60% of which is accessible. So it will take time, but we are sure to make it. The inhabitants are impatiently waiting that their streets should be clean like ever before.
And without a transition, we take you to information out of Cameroon to say that gunmen have kidnapped 5 Indian nationals near Kobri in Western Mali, that's in West Africa, amid an escalating violence in the country. Meantime, the United States of America and the Federal Republic of Nigeria are buried in a diplomatic crisis following President Donald Trump's threat to deploy military forces to Nigeria over alleged genocide against Christians. And the trial of Sylvia and Nuruddin Bongo begins today in the Gabonese capital, Libreville, with the former First Lady and son accused of embezzling public funds. Immaculate Fogwe has more in the following report.
Gunmen have kidnapped 5 Indian nationals in Mali. The workers were kidnapped near Kobri in western Mali. The African Union is calling for urgent action to address escalating violence in Mali, where the humanitarian situation has reached critical levels. Over 6.4 million people, approximately 27.7% of the country's population, require emergency assistance due to persistent insecurity, structural vulnerabilities, and the impact of climate change. Meanwhile, the United States and Nigeria are embroiled in a diplomatic crisis following U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to deploy military forces to Nigeria over alleged genocide against Christians. Trump accused Nigeria of allowing the killing of Christians, calling it a disgraced country and warning of potential military action. Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu rejected Trump's claims, emphasizing that the country's security challenges are complex and affect people of all faiths. The Nigerian government welcomes U.S. assistance but insists on respecting Nigeria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The international community is cautious, with some expressing concerns about the potential consequences of military intervention. Nigerian organizations in the U.S. have rejected the idea of foreign military intervention, emphasizing Nigeria's sovereignty. And in Gabon, the trial of Sylvia and Nuruddin Bongo begins today in Libreville. While the former head of state isn't among the accused, his wife Sylvia and son Nuruddin and 11 other associates who held key positions at the end of his presidency will be tried before a special criminal court all week. The former president's wife and son won't attend the hearings as they have left Gabon since May and will follow from their London mansion where they have taken refuge.
And in sports, the den of the indomitable Lions is gradually gaining steam as they prepare for their CAF FIFA World Cup playoffs, even though the den will miss out on Dani Namaso, who sustains injuries. The arrival of the head coach McBreeze has boosted the morals of the players who are currently having their first training session. Cameroon's first hurdle will be the Democratic Republic of Congo on Thursday, November the 13th, 2025. Sportsman Smart Njikan Gabriel has more in the following report.
The Lions' den is gradually gaining steam with the arrival of team coach Mark Breeze. The regroupment, which started timidly at the Amphitrit Palace Hotel in Rabat, Morocco, began in the absence of head coach Mark Breeze. Amongst the early birds at the camp, Mohamedou Nagida, Davis Epasi, Malcolm Bokele, Brian Buemo, Yunusa Wilti, Michael Ngande, Christian Basogo, Carl Eta Eyong, Enzo Boyomo, Jean-Charles Castelletto, and Eric Maxime Choupo-Moutin, with the list expected to grow as the day unfolds. Going by information from the team press officer Thierry Do, the last set of players are expected to touch down in Morocco late Monday evening. One player who has been ruled out of the playoffs is Dani Namaso, who got injured during the Ligue 1 game between Angers and Auxerre. Cameroon takes on the Democratic Republic of Congo on Thursday, 8 p.m. Central African Time.
And Semantic and Gabriel ending. But before we take leave of you, we talk about the late arrivals in the Lions' Den. We're noting the arrival of Ivan Neo, Nicolas Brice Mumingamale, Jean Onana, that is Jean Onana, Simon Omosola, and Georges Kevin Kudu. They have just joined their team players or core team members to boost the morale of the Lions' Den and also get the indomitable Lions fully prepared as they prepare to take on the Democratic Republic of Congo in this very important CAF FIFA World Cup playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with that sports report that we put an end to today's edition of News on Equinoxe Television. We thank you for your keen attention, urging you to stay in the company of interesting programs on your #1 television network, Equinoxe. See you guys tomorrow at the same time.